So we're multiplying decimals and whole numbers today. And we're going to use some models to just experiment with some different ways of doing this. When we multiply a decimal and a whole number, if you think about it like money, this is going to make it a whole lot easier for you. I want to use a strategy for multiplying 6/10 times 3. What does it mean when I multiply something times 3? What am I doing? What am I making? If I multiply something times 3, what am I doing? Yes. No, we're not moving the decimal 3 times. That was with the patterns we practiced on Friday. That's only when you multiply 5 powers of 10, 10, 100, 1,000. What does it mean when you multiply something times 3? Yeah.
You add that number 3 times?
I could. Yeah.
It would be an odd number.
Not necessarily an odd number, but Zoe's right. Could I do repeated addition?
Yeah.
Yeah. When I'm multiplying something by 3, I'm making 3 groups of what?
That number is
6 what? Not 6.
6/10.
6/10. So one strategy you could use is repeated addition. If you do repeated addition, you're going to get there. And we learned how to add decimals in 4th grade. So you could do 6/10 plus 6/10 plus 6/10. What's another way? Another strategy I could use.
You just drop the 0 and do 6 times.
That's not what we're doing today. We're not going to drop the 0 because your place value will get messed up. What if I drew 3 circles? Could I put 6/10 in each circle? So to draw a picture, I'm going to draw 3 lines. Each line represents 1/10. This is 6/10. How many tenths did I draw all together? 18 tenths. How do you write 18 tenths as a decimal, Quinn?
1 and 8 tenths.
1 and 8 tenths. Good. The last group had a hard time with this. If I have 18 tenths, that's written 1 and 8 tenths. Are you all with me? If I wanted to do 1 and 4 tenths times 3, how could I draw a picture to represent 1 and 4 tenths? What would I draw? Abby?
20 circles and put 1 4 in each one.
And put what in each one?
1 4. 1 4. Wait, sorry.
Not 1 4.
Yeah, 14 tenths.
I could, but there's something else that'll make it shorter. Otherwise, I'm drawing a lot of tenths. AJ?
100?
They're not. It's actually not 100. You guys, the place value, the base 10 blocks that you guys use, the squares, when you move to decimals, become 1. It's not worth 100 anymore. So I could do 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that 1 and 4 tenths 3 times? How many ones do I show there?
12.
No. How many ones do I show?
3.
3. You guys have to shift your head. All the base 10 stuff you did from kindergarten through 3rd grade changes after you learn decimals. This is 1. This is a tenth. And if I had a little dot, it would be 100. So I have 3 ones. That's easy. How many tenths do I have?
12.
Good, 12 tenths. How do I write 12 tenths, Elliot?
1.20.
Can you guys add 3 plus 1 and 2 tenths pretty easily?
Yeah.
Super easy. So this is another way you can do it. I can also circle a group of 10 and trade it out. 10 tenths make 1 whole. If I take 10 dimes to Wells Fargo and ask the person at the counter, hey, can I have $1 for these 10 dimes? They're going to say, yeah, sure. You don't want to carry a whole bunch of dimes around. Trade them in for dollars. Okay? So these are like your dimes. These are your dollars. And if I wanted to express something like this with a picture, it would be 1 3/10 and 2 hundredths. I don't use these as much because by the time we get out to that level, we're going to use a different strategy that's more efficient. But that's another way I could represent it. Give me a thumbs up if this is making sense. It's pretty easy stuff. So we can use repeated addition, okay? These are called quick picks because we're just drawing boxes and lines, right? Well, now we're going to look at the squares I gave you, these grids, and we're going to use a different strategy. So you can flip to a new paper or find a spot to put it. And we're going to model multiplication of decimals using this now. So let's say I want to multiply 4/10 times 4. Now I will say this strategy works with decimals and whole numbers. When we multiply decimals by decimals, it's a whole different set of models. So if I want to multiply 4/10 times 4, I can use this model to do it. So each of these has 100 squares. If I want to model 4/10 on this 100 square, how many columns am I going to shade in? No, 10 would be 1 whole. 4. So I want you to shade in 4 columns with one of your colors, just one. So now I've got 4/10 there. How many groups of 4/10 am I making? So I'm going to take a different color, something that's going to stand out a little better. I'm going to take a different color and I'm going to color 4 more columns. Am I done? No, because I got to do this 2 more times. So you see I'm alternating colors. The books, sometimes they show each group in a different color. Sometimes they alternate colors. Sometimes you'll see them doing like a light gray, dark gray. So I've done another group of 4/10 here, and now I'm going to switch back to my orange and do 4/10 one last time. Does everybody see how I have this shaded? Sometimes your problems will take 2 squares. and sometimes it will just be 1. After I get done, how many tenths did I shade in? Good. 16 tenths. How do I write 16 tenths? Ezra? 1 and 6 tenths. So my answer to this one is 1 and 6 tenths because I've shaded in 16 tenths. Are you getting this, friends? Now, sometimes you're going to take something small. Let's say 7/100 times 3. Now, I'm not going to be shading in entire columns. What am I shading in? Yeah, how many squares do I need to shade in for 7/100? 7. Now, this is when people start going really fast and making silly mistakes. I've seen people make dots and count them this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then color in the ones they put a dot in because we want them to all be together. Okay, I'm not just going to do 7, 7, 7. I'm going to do 7 tenths like this, and then I'm going to switch to my next color. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm going to shade in that 7 here. And I'm using the dots to make sure I don't miscount because that's usually what happens when people start going fast. And now I've got to do one more group of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to have one lone square colored on this next line. But if you do it correctly, it's really easy to count your total squares, which is what? 21. So my answer is 21 hundredths because there's 21 squares. When you start doing Study Island, you're going to see a lot of models on this. So you need to be able to read the models as well as do the standard. Everybody good so far? I'm going to show you one more way before we practice. And I'll leave this up. So another way is using the distributive property, and we talked about this. I actually use this property every day. This is how I do your math in my head really fast to make sure your answers are right. The distributive property will allow you to do mental math and break things apart. If I have 3 and 4 tenths times 4, I really don't want to draw all those squares. I'm going to break it out. How can I break up a 3 and 4 tenths? What can I split it into?
3.
Thank you.
3 times 4 and 4 tenths times 4.
So I can break this 3 and 4 tenths into a 3 and a 4 tenths. And Quinn, you're right. I'm going to multiply this 4 with the 3 and then add 4 tenths times 4. Well, 3 times 4 we know is 12. And if I have 4 piles of 4 tenths, pretend I have 4 dimes. I have 4 piles of 4 dimes. How much money am I going to have? How much money is that, Miles?
16 cents.
I have 4 piles of 4 dimes. Each dime's 10 cents. It's not 16 cents. Sophia? Huh? 44? No, think about it. Yeah. 40 is 1 pile. I have 4 piles of 40 cents. How much money is that? $160? No. Think about it. Riley? $1.60. Can you guys write $1.60? Sure. Do I really need this 0? No. But if you think about this like money, these are your dimes. You guys can see piles of dimes in your head. This is $1.60, and together I have 13 and 6/10.